Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all those good joints. It's Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. Welcome back, y'all. It's Monday. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. So I want to get right into it, but I want to make sure you guys can hear me so I ain't wasting my breath. Okay. So if you are on the live chat and let me know where you're at. Let me know you can hear me, and we'll go ahead and get busy as soon as somebody confirmed that. Let's see. Somebody said, well, all right. I see some little emojis going on. Howdy, Kevin. All right. That's a start. Yeah. Somebody said number one. All right, Florida in the house, Maryland in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Salty Mary in the house. Hello from Michigan. Check, check. Mic one, check one. All right, I guess y'all can hear me. So let's go ahead and get busy. Oh, because I'm about to rock the planet. Beat my chest like a sick.
I rock the planet, beating my chest like a real cold blood, real cold blood, real cold blood. There's some killers in the building. Gorillas in here, gorilla in here, gorillas in here, gorillas in here.
Now, somebody I think is teasing me about my Stillers. I think somebody said they stunk up the joint. Yeah, I know. I don't appreciate it. In fact, I'm a little perturbed, honestly. Smoky Mountains in here. There we go. All right. Now, before we go ahead and get into the show, of course, let you know about my my online store, Kevin's Corner. I want you to check that out. If you want to donate to the channel, you can through my Cash App and my PayPal. Hit the like button, share my videos, follow me on all the other social media platforms, and I think we should be good there. That's a good start. So guys, I want to talk about why does the left need censorship? See, now we've been hearing a lot about these funny new definitions and terms that just seem to pop up since Donald Trump really came on the scene and kind of overturned the apple cart, which is terms like dis and misinformation. Now, when you are and this isn't just my thinking on it from a psychological standpoint, when you feel that you have either a higher status or higher IQ than other people, one could fall into the trap of control, thinking that they can control people based on these people don't know what I know, or these people don't have the status or the power that we have. It would be kind of like, a teacher that can manipulate the kindergarten class. But as the kids get a little older, they start realizing manipulation tactics. You can't just talk over them, use terms that they can't understand, quote information that they can't look up and read for themselves. And you start to lose that control. You start to realize, wow, these kids used to look up to me as a god almost. And whatever I would say, they would just say, okay, Mrs. So-and-so has said that. That's why I believe it. Almost to a point where kids will come home from school, tell their parents something that the teacher said. And if the parent even says, I don't believe that, or that's not true, the kid would be like, hey, obviously it's true. Teachers are supposed to tell the truth. Okay, they're supposed to teach, not you, mama, not you, pops. So I'm going to believe the teacher. Same thing for years with the government. Now, many people had their skepticism concerning the government and the news. But they fell victim of being completely exposed when Trump came on the scene. They start doing things that we haven't seen before. And the reason they had to respond that way is because we grew up. The internet opened up the door for folks to say, I'm going to question the teachers. I'm going to question the administration. I'm going to question the news. In fact, I'm going to go read this on my own, and I'm going to present contradicting evidence to this claim. So now, once you realize, whoa, okay, now we can no longer manipulate the kids. We can no longer just tell them stuff and they say, okay. Now all of a sudden they're exposing us. They're making us look weak. They're showing that really we ain't got no clothes on under this robe. Well, to combat that, it's easy to say, I'm going to use my platform and my position and my authority within the government or as a politician to introduce a new tactic of control. If we cannot control what these folks read, what they say, and all of that stuff, we need to go ahead, come up with new terms, new definitions that will put them in a category where we can eventually demonize them and hopefully penalize them through legislation. In other words, we can no longer persuade them. We can no longer go ahead and debate them and convince them based on our argument and all of that stuff. They've grown too smart. Yeah, and we're losing control. So what we're going to have to do is cheat. We're going to go ahead and have to become the teacher that says, when you backtalk me, you need to go over there and sit in the corner. When you question me, okay, go over there and sit in that corner, put your nose in there, okay? And I want you to write 100 times. I will not question Miss Krabappel ever. That's what I want. I'm going to punish you if you either contradict me by questioning me directly or start telling the other kids that ain't what I had read. That when I had read it too, and it did. Now the teacher is starting to look stupid. They're getting questioned, so they got to come up with tactics to control folks and make them either be afraid to challenge the status quo, to combat their narratives, to expose their lies, and to do it, you toy around with language. You start coming up with these sneaky little definitions and terms that is pushed through other entities like the media and stuff to familiarize the public with terms like hate speech. There you go. You don't define what it is. See, you leave that up to you and the people in power. Because see, when you come up with that, you come up with it in the mind frame of this is directed towards everybody who disagrees with me. It ain't based on a standard. We don't have nothing sitting there saying, all right, here's all the things you can say, here's all the things you can't say. This is hate speech, this isn't. It's really so we can pull out this weapon whenever we need it to control somebody, to silence somebody, to demonize somebody. So they put this definition out there. That's a new one, hate speech. Now I'm thinking, is that something that, bunny hops over the First Amendment? What is hate speech? When we were growing up, kids always, man, you get me sick, man, I hate you, man, I hate you. So should the kid, be labeled as someone spreading hate speech? Folks say that all the time. Folks say bad things all the time. But who's to decide when it becomes hate speech? Well, these folks want that privilege, that power to be able to do it, but it's not based on a standard. They're not going to go into the hood and start asking folks, all right, did anybody say anything today to hurt your feelings? They don't care about that. They only care about it when it could either silence their opposition or control some folks or demonize some folks. So they're using it as a weapon. So they come up with these new terms. Another one is disinformation. See, so now you can label somebody as spreading disinformation. And then there's misinformation as well. One is purposeful. There you go. One is purposeful, meaning I intended to deliver a lie. Now, if that was how you want to label what disinformation is, okay, then that means all the fake news. They are all spreading disinformation. That means any politician, Democrat or Republican, and it's mostly the Democrats, whenever they get up there and tell a fat one, what they're doing is spreading disinformation. But because these are the folks that came up with these definitions to use it for political gain, they never hold themselves accountable. See, these definitions weren't designed to be turned back on them. No. See, remember, we're the folks the arbiters of disinformation. We can sit back and look at it and say, now that's disinformation. That right there is okay. But this is misinformation. That's disinformation because it hurts me. It exposes me, or it hurts our party, or it threatens our power. So these definitions and these terms have been invented for control and censorship. Meaning, if you start blowing our narratives to smithereens, because we're still holding on to, we're the ones of authority, we got all the resources to look into this. We somehow went to dis and misinformation school. Now, I didn't know. you can become a professional in determining what is truth or lies. It used to be you just have to debate. It used to be where, hey, if you lie, you lie. Okay, prove me wrong. It used to be that. But now we got people in authority constantly throwing these labels out there to familiarize the population with them. And as they throw them out there, notice they're always directed towards their opposition, okay, or anybody who disagrees with a particular ideology or party. So we want to get into this a little bit tonight and expose some stuff because this is very dangerous. J.D. Vance was talking about it during a debate, and he was talking about, you want to know the real threat to democracy, as the Democrats are always crying? It is just that. It is censorship. And I'm about to expose some of the biggest censorers that's out there. So let's get into it, starting off with this big phony right here. See, this is why they don't like us to be out there saying stuff. Because watch this. Watch this.
What's that been like?
Look at her. Look at her.
Honestly, when we went out the first day, I was familiar because I used to live in Asheville.
You see the Muppet? You see that robot right there? You see the cackler out there? So now, the cackler, of course, is just a suit. The cackler is just someone who is controlled by the very people who want to keep control, and they know that they can control her. So they script everything, they stage it, they try their very, manipulation tactics, like, okay, let's create perception. So the perception can then become reality to the unlearned. Yeah, to folks who ain't got a sharp eye. Okay, but because we got sharp eyes, we can see this whole thing right here is fake. So now she goes down there pretending that she's helping out y'all during the, hurricane relief, and all she's doing is just standing in a line and putting stuff in a bag.
We made the first stop in Morganton, and MJ and I drove up, and I was like, where's they drop off? I need
now
to back
check her
up
face out.
where they drop off their supplies. Mm-hmm.
You see that? You said, as she's just doing whatever she's doing. You know what she's hearing from the lady in the purple? You think this mean anything to her? You think she's feeling it? So she goes down there for a photo op. I'm sure all right, now, Madam Vice President, stand right there. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to stand in a line and you're going to act like this is doing something. Do you see what she's doing? She's going through the motions. She's giving her the nod like you would do a kid or somebody who's crazy or somebody who's senile, where they're just talking and you ain't really paying attention and you just go, oh, what? As she's pretending to help. So this is help. Look
We thinking that they're gonna have all these supplies.
That's it.
And she come out.
Put a little toothpaste,
when our community
underarm
members
deodorant.
come out, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so glad y'all here." Come to find out.
Now, what is this? What is this? See, this is the type of stuff that manipulates people, and when folks start to see through it, see, you could get away with something like this with the unlearned, with the bubbleheads out there. Yeah, but as the folks start getting more enlightened, when they start getting older, like my brother, he could no longer manipulate me to make the Kool-Aid. I got old enough to realize when he start japping me up, talking about, man, you make the best Kool-Aid in the house. But hey, you don't want to make it. I mean, everybody talk about how great your Kool-Aid is, but I'll go do it, I guess. Whoa, wait. Maybe I should go ahead and do it then. You say they like my Kool-Aid, right? Mm-hmm. Then I got older and started saying, man, you've been tricking me to make the Kool-Aid. So this right here, I'm seeing it. I'm going, hey, y'all trying to make us go ahead and make the Kool-Aid right here. This woman went down there to put deodorant in a bag as she's nodding, listening to this lady talk about all the crap her administration has not done. So now this woman right here is exposing her to her face, and she probably ain't even hearing nothing she's saying anyway. What did you say? I'm sure when she walks away, if they're all right, how did you receive what she said, Madam Vice President? I don't know what she said. She was saying something about stuff is bad and all this stuff. I was just worried about, when can I get out of here?
We were the only one.
Look at her.
Yeah. We were the only one, and they had 3 tents.
They didn't even have a center of where to do it because they were the only one.
We were the only one. They had 3 tents set up outside, and I guess maybe they had about 20 cases of water, and that was But I think what really got me was the 16-year-old daughter came up and seen us when we take pads and put like 5 or 10 in a bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my God, we got some pads." And
Look at that. So fake. So fake. Yeah. Yeah. Slight grin, but yet. Now, do you think this woman's sincere? She is so paper thin. She's so fake. And this is the problem. Too many people are able to see she's fake, so they can't manipulate us and push her through. They're having a hard time pushing their agenda on us. They're having a hard time shoving politicians on us and saying, this is a good person. Because we're able to scrutinize them. We're able to cross-reference them. We're able to go and find all types of clips that when they said this, they really didn't mean it. Now they say, no, I mean it now, and this and that. We're able to debunk them. We're able to expose them. It's too much information accessible to us, and we're allowed to share it with each other. And that's a problem. See, maybe in 1990, if she would have came out, we would have just thought she was sincere in going down here to really help out and all of that stuff. We would have thought that, hey, man, you know what? Stuff happens. I'm sure FEMA doing the best that they can. And look at her. She right there is a go-getter going down there, showing us how to lead by example. But we now know that this is nothing but photo ops. This right here is nothing but them manipulating and staging stuff to make it appear that she's good. She's good. And look at her. She's doing stuff as she just nods along and go, yeah.
As a female, we know how valuable that is. And she said, because they were in Morganton, not in Asheville, that no one had brought them anything.
Now, do you think she's able to even realize what this woman is saying to her as she nods along and go, yeah, and just slightly putting underarm deodorant in the bag? Does she even realize that this woman is exposing the fact that under her administration, this sucks? Maybe they didn't coach that woman up. We don't want you to say anything negative about the Biden administration, okay? While you're sitting there nodding along, you need to be going ahead and saying, everything's great down here. And man, I'm going to tell you right now, y'all been on it. Thank you so much, Madam Vice President. And I want you to also give a shout out to Creepy Sleepy, because you know what? If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't have nothing. I don't know what they be saying on that news and stuff. I mean, they talking about we ain't get no money, we can't get our $700, and the helicopters ain't showing up, and FEMA won't let folks get through and all of that. So I don't know what they talking about, because we don't see that here on the ground. I'm sure they probably should have coached that lady up. But unfortunately, maybe they gave her too much leeway, and she started telling about what's really going on. As Kamala Harris sits there nodding along like, yeah, we suck. That's right. We didn't do nothing. Yeah, you're right about us. All that stuff you're hearing on the news. Yeah, it's true. But in her head, she just heard, wah, hurry up, get through this photo op so I can get out of here. And now we have folks on the ground. Now, once again, this is where modern technology becomes a problem for the left. See, they out here telling us everything is hunky-dory. Stop lying about what's going on with this whole, catastrophe and how the Biden administration is responding and FEMA and all that stuff. Stop lying about that, y'all.
My name's Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit. And I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here and then we got activated, which is great. I have my team up here working as well. Yeah. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground level.
Oh, man, this guy's about to spread some dis and misinformation. We don't want to trust somebody that's actually there on the ground, do we? Nah, We don't want to trust somebody who is revealing what's really going on. We want to listen to the news. The news will just tell us what's going on. And the Democrats will say, everything's great. We're doing everything. Like Mucus said on Friday during my live stream, that we are there on the ground and we are taking care of everything that people have what they need. Yeah, we want to just go ahead and stop right there. However, now we got folks out there that is uploading videos like this.
Actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete bullshit on the news. These politicians don't have fucking clue in their lines.
Oh my.
And I'll say this now, I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives.
Well, wait a minute, Mr. Former military man. Don't the government have that What about all those soldiers and stuff that was just sitting there waiting to be deployed, but they didn't let them get deployed? What about all those Black Hawks and stuff like that? I would think if they would have just, employed the National Guard in every one of these states immediately, soon as the storm hit, they could have been like, all right, everybody on standby. I've seen them make some amazing rescues, and they got a lot of those Black Hawks. They got a lot of those. So maybe if they would have did that up front, a lot of folks standing on houses could have been rescued. A lot of folks up in remote areas and stuff could have been rescued. But instead, they, for whatever reason, don't do it. And now this man is talking about, I need helicopters. Why a civilian got to be talking about he needs helicopters?
Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles, 40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I'm literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. Wow. What got me fired up about this
Now, see, when I hear stuff like this, and I start my conspiracy hat, my tinfoil hat starts going crazy. The little spinner on the top starts swirling. Yeah, I start saying to myself, now wait a minute. If this man right here knows that the most proficient way to reach these people is helicopters, and most average common sense people would think, yeah, get more helicopters up there, but for some reason, there's not enough helicopters and the government's not sending them, then you have to ask yourself, do we just not have the helicopters? Or could it be something a little more sinister? If we're smart enough to know that we need helicopters, I'm sure that the military, the National Guard would be going, yeah, we need helicopters, because they're not incompetent. We've seen them do things when they want to. So what's stopping them? What could it be that make them say, in this application, we ain't got enough helicopters, or we don't need them, or we should not employ them? What could it be? Could it be like this man said, there's no way I could reach these people? I don't care how many chainsaws I got, how many, bulldozers. There's no way I could reach them in time without a helicopter. Could it be that's the whole point? Hey, we're not trying to reach them. Let's go the old traditional way. Get a sickle, maybe, start chiseling away with some dynamite, blow up some, who knows? We might get to them by, after the election. We might make it to them after that. I don't know. I mean, we don't know. But nonetheless, I would think helicopters would make it more proficient, like this guy said. But it gets worse, y'all. Listen to what happened to this man.
Because yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby.
Great.
And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that like they have some government help with that. And even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So wait a minute. What you're saying is you rescued the baby, some civilians, and the fake news and FEMA is trying to say they did. So you're telling me they spreading dis and misinformation? That's what you're telling me, man? And we would not have known it if it wasn't for this man being able to get up there and tell us and reveal the truth. Now, isn't that odd? If it was up to them, they would just go on, take credit, and we'll never know about it. Imagine if this was in the 80s, before the internets. Imagine that. We would be going, man, FEMA did a great job. And this guy would be somewhere in a local city saying, man, that was me. And everybody be going, shut up, whatever, man. We don't believe you. The news just reported it was FEMA who did it. The news had just said, we would never know. But now we got people out there saying they're lying. So wait, who's really spreading this dis and misinformation? Could it be this is projection? Could it be that they came up with this because they identify something within themselves that they do all the time? And they say, what would be great? If we just start saying everybody else is doing what we're doing. But we can demonize them and come up with tricky ways to maybe even punish them when they expose us. So now, who should we believe? This man? Or should we believe all the entities that said that FEMA was involved and all of that? Because see, if they all gang up on this guy, these established, networks and newspapers and FEMA, if they all gang up on this guy and get the fake news behind him, this guy will look like he's the one out there lying and spreading disinformation. Isn't that odd how this happens?
In North Carolina. Like, without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too, because she had 1 day left of oxygen. That no one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks.
Oh, 40 to 2.
But wait a minute, we are down there. We will find all of these people somehow, says Mucus. We will use every resource possible.
Says Mucus. So I'm wondering, why is this man who is out there seeing with his own eyes that, look, we got all these helicopters and these are civilians. However, I'll turn on the news and the news is saying that they're getting it done and we're demonizing them and we're spreading disinformation about what's really going on. Even though all of these people are posting videos of how horrible it is, they ain't got no money, they didn't get rescued, it took forever, civilians had to come and get them, FEMA's not doing anything, my $750 won't come through. We got a conflict of interest, don't we? We have the fake news telling us something that the real people on the set is saying, that's not happening. That's not true. So let's continue, y'all, because we want to get to the bottom of why this new definition of dis and misinformation has been dropped on the scene.
National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's it. No one's out there doing rescues.
Here's my question about North Carolina. You had these killer storms, which, by the way, was a third big story this week.
Yes,
These
another
storms.
Third big story. Now, here's a guy who got some clout. I think he worked with the Clintons or somebody. Who knows? He might have worked even on Obama. But now he's revealing a motive or a theory that a lot of us been thinking about, y'all. I mean, he might have, I don't know if he didn't, know that maybe what he's talking about might leak out or could be interpreted as, yeah, that sounds pretty diabolical. But let's see what this man is focused on in regards to the storm and what he abstracts out of it. Let's see.
And there's a lot of displacement in western North Carolina. Now, Asheville is a blue dot in that area, but there are a lot of Republican voters there.
Key.
But those voters in Asheville are, they're, the kind of voters who will figure out a way to vote. They're upscale, kind of liberal voters. And they
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up now. This man is suggesting that the folks in the blue dot, in other words, the liberals, who he's claiming are upscale and informed, smart folks, which we all know that's not true. I'm sorry to say that, but the liberal IQ is through, okay? But he's saying that these people are classy. This is how he looks at, their voters versus the rest of them. They're classy, they're smart, they're intelligent, they're able to go ahead and figure things out. But listen what he says about all these folks that for some reason the helicopters aren't making it to.
They're probably going to figure out a way to vote. I'm not sure a bunch of these folks who've had their homes and lives destroyed elsewhere in western North Carolina in the mountains there are going to be.
Up in the mountains? You mean the folks up there with 1, 2, something like that, man? What we gonna do, Paul? I mean, heck, we've been up here now for like 3.5 weeks. How we gonna get down there to vote, Paul? So they don't know how to figure it out. They can't figure it out. But the smart liberals, they're able to get that done. But look what he's talking about. He's more focused on how this could impact the voting, not their lives, okay. But it also shows how condescending this bum is and how many of these folks who's over helping this operation go in the government, how they view a lot of folks on the right. I mean, they didn't want to make a quick trip down to East Palestine, did they? Nah. So let's go ahead and hear what he got to say about this.
Be as easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign.
He said that
Not that easy to wrangle for the Trump campaign. In other words, as Trump said today, I don't care. Well, I saw a clip where he's like, I don't care about voting right now. Right now, I'm worried about the lives. That guy, he's worried about the voting. I wonder who else in the administration might just have a motive, might just not care so much about the lives, but maybe, how long it might take these folks to get settled. And, I mean, they have higher priorities than getting to the voting booth if they're stuck up there in the mountains, or they ain't got a house, or they've been staying in a hotel for about 8 weeks or whatever. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I was in that tragedy and survived, I don't care what is going on November 5th. I could be walking down the side of the mountain barefoot, clothes shredded like I just turned into the Incredible Hulk. Somehow pants just shredded, feet ashy, nails dirty, beard all unkept, hair growing back. I will walk down that hill and find a way to go in, smelling up the whole joint, and punch the ticket. There it is. And just in case my license and all that stuff got washed away, I'll just say the Democrats and them say we don't need no voter IDs. I'm here to vote. Click it. I'd find a way to get it done, man. So now, here we go, y'all. Because for some reason, this is negative when it comes down to a lot of people's perception of what the government's doing. When you talk about the government, you're also indicting Chameleon Harris and also Creepy Sleepy. Now, if you haven't realized, we're in the middle of an election season, okay? So it's odd that these networks, instead of talking about the crisis, instead of pulling up videos of what the people on the ground are saying, they bring folks on to talk about what?
FEMA is only offering $750 to Americans who have had their homes destroyed. That's not true. He's also echoing conspiracy theorists online who falsely claim that the administration is redirecting disaster.
See? Notice? Echoing conspiracy theories online that echoes to FEMA that is only offering $750. Notice that now, see, this right here is something that the devil do. Mixes truth with lies. See? What she's not telling you is, yeah, they're offering $750 up front. But what she's going to try to say is, but that's just the start. That's just, well, what's the finish? If you can't even get out the start blocks, I mean, because we got videos all online of people saying, I went on and I got rejected. So now here she is talking about that's not true. We all know that that's true because Kamala Harris said it. Not only did she say it, but the people have said, we're not getting the money. So not only is she offering only $750, the people can't even get that. And then she wants to pretend like that's disinformation because that's just the start. Figure out a way to go ahead and make the truth sound like a lie. Sound like this isn't something that has the whole story to be told. Now, they're masters of not telling the whole story. Just like Trump called for a bloodbath. Oh, what? You mean he's talking about Mexico and the cars and stuff? Oh, we forgot about that part. That part wasn't important. So now let's hear her go ahead and try to say that Trump is out there spreading disinformation. We ain't focused on the people. We ain't focused on the tragedy. We're not even trying to ask questions about what is going on with this administration and why they can't get it done. Why is it that these people's testimony ain't lining up with what the administration is saying? As a journalist, you would think, let's question the administration first. Because we want to hold them accountable. Let's go ahead and use these people's testimonies on the ground to go ahead and bounce it off of what the Democrats are saying, the current administration is saying. And say, now, you know what you're saying that, Mr. Mucus. However, we just saw 1,800 videos of people saying, instead of doing that, what does she do? Jumps right in there, parrots whatever talking point was sent down by the Democrat Party, and then goes after Trump instead of going after the administration that left these people hanging.
Money for undocumented immigrants. That's also not true. Why is he spreading misinformation?
Bam! That term, where did I hear that from? Why is it popping up again? Why is that one popping up again? Why is he spreading misinformation? Because see, we know the truth. We know what is true because Biden and them told us. Kamala and them told us. I mean, heck, They sent us talking points. Remember back when they installed Kamala? All of a sudden, she was no longer the border czar. Remember the notes that they sent the fake news? First things first, she was never the border czar. She was only appointed to study the roots of, and they all said it. They all said it. Didn't even question it. They didn't even question the fact that they themselves were calling her the border czar. They didn't even fact check themselves. They didn't even say, you know what? Back then, us going out saying she's the border czar, we were spreading disinformation. They didn't say that. They didn't hold themselves accountable. But yet, here we go. Let's just go ahead and say what they sent us to say, that Trump is spreading mis and disinformation, according to them and us.
Crisis like that. And does that concern you about your fellow North Carolinians and how and whether they could actually get help?
How and whether they can actually get, what Trump said, even if Trump was spreading dis and misinformation, even if the things that she just said was true, meaning Trump says, they only offering $750, but maybe they're offering more. Trump said that they spent money on illegal immigrants. So you're telling me that would stop people from trying? Desperate people? You see the people are still trying to apply for the $750. You see that? And they're getting rejected. So why would that discourage them? They say, well, Trump said that they're only giving out $750. I don't want that. Obviously, that's not enough. I don't even want that. Forget that mess. What? They gave the money to illegal immigrants. Well, you know what? I don't want the resources they're going to give us. I'm not even going to look into it. Why would that even impact these people in desperate situations? But they're going to try to make it seem like what Trump said could put people's lives in danger. Thus, you find out the real motive. Come up with some bootleg definition and term, throw it on your opponent, and then say that speech or what you're saying, which is exposing the truth, is dis and misinformation, and then we tether it to safety issues. You could be putting people's lives in danger by spreading things that we don't approve.
I'm incredibly concerned in North Carolina. I hear every day from people on the ground there, and they are desperate for help. It is a dire situation there. I actually think we don't even know the extent yet of truly how bad it is there. And look, Kamala Harris did come out and say it's $750 per family right now. The idea that we've spent $650 million in fiscal year 24 on the...
Now look at Dana. Look at Dana Trash looking down at her notes. First of all, you think she cares anything about the details of the tragedy? No, her goal and objective right now, she's thinking, how can I go ahead and protect Kamala Harris, make it appear that she doesn't have anything to do with this and the administration is keeping this thing together and doing the right thing. And then, of course, silence or at least make it appear that Trump and all of us who knows what's going on are not telling the truth. The goal is protect the regime. This is what our goal is. The goal is not going ahead and exposing the fact that this raggedy administration has forsaken these people. That's not the goal. She can care less. So I don't care if Laura Trump gets up there and tells her about babies floating, the grown folks, the bodies in trees. I don't care if she tell her the most, horrific stories that's going on down there. Dana will let that go one ear and out the other because right now she's bunny hopping over whatever she's saying and thinking, how can I accomplish this goal of Trump is spreading lies because he's really telling the truth, but we can't have that. So we'll use these made up terms to go ahead and say, well, he's spreading dis and misinformation. Let's continue.
Migrant crisis that Kamala Harris was responsible for stopping, and by all accounts, she created by having an open door policy at our southern border is infuriating.
Let me stop you right there.
But let me stop you right there because, see, you're damaging my whole goal and objective. You're exposing the people we're trying to protect. So I got to stop you right there. You can't be up here talking about how Kamala and all of them have contributed to this.
Just stop you right there because I just want to not let this get out there. You are right that FEMA is giving $750, but that is a first step. It's for immediate needs. It's called the
Well, Alejandro Mayorkas came out
serious needs
Santa, and
assistance.
said that they are out of money in terms of their hurricane relief. We have another hurricane heading towards Florida right now.
What they have
Why
said is
this
that there
different?
is money.
Because we just believe them. Forget all of the other reports. Forget all of that. But what they had said. So then, once again, what's the second step? If you can't get past the first step, if you can't get the $750 out there to people who need it like yesterday, then what's the second step? Have they rolled out a secondary plan? In fact, if they're already saying they might not have enough money for the rest of the hurricane season, we got another hurricane coming right now. So $750 going out there. So let's continue, because see, she's trying to protect this narrative. There's no way that they can go out there and let people realize that, wait a minute, you telling me this administration was more concerned about illegal immigrants, that they somehow figured out a way to manipulate the purse and allocate some funds towards illegal immigrants through the FEMA program? And now you're saying we're running out of money, and plus only offering us $750. How y'all gonna justify this? This is misinformation. Here we go.
That's right now. Why don't they have anything in order? Why is it that right now the citizens in Western North Carolina are screaming for help, and it's having to come from local citizens? People from my hometown of Wilmington are driving across the state 6 hours to go to the mountains and help people.
It is bad.
It is our federal.
It is bad, but I don't want to talk about that though. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the reality, okay, that matches what Trump is saying. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the fact that all of these folks' testimonies and all these videos match what we heard Mucus say. Out of money. It matches what these people are saying. We're not getting help here on the ground. It matches what we're hearing in the news when it comes down to all of these illegal immigrants that got money to stand in hotels, got business cards so they can buy food with. It matches that. Isn't that odd? I mean, so all of a sudden we're supposed to just say, well, this has no correlation, even though all of the evidence show that all of this lines up. But Dana's job is to gaslight us, but then say we're spreading disinformation because we don't believe the gaslighting.
Why are they out of money?
It is bad there.
It is bad, but
My question is about the misinformation, particularly the notion that they are moving money to migrants.
Why? You're more concerned about the migrants? That's what it is? I mean, how does that even impact this? See, it is bad there, but now, you think if her family right now was on top of a house waiting for rescue, she'd be worried about the dis and misinformation about the money for the migrants? You think that's important? See, what does that even do? How does that impact the people out there? That's my point. Whether it's true or false. So the goal is not about helping the people. The goal is trash Trump, cover up for Kamala and them. That's it. As she acknowledges it, it's bad, but I don't even want to talk about how bad it is. I want to talk about Trump spreading dis and misinformation about these migrants. That's important. We can solve that, work that out later. Right now, these folks are in danger. That's the immediate situation. But what she says is bad, but I want to talk about this. So in other words, my priority is not focusing on these folks losing their lives, lost their stuff, don't have enough supplies, nobody's coming to help them, all of that stuff, which is the immediate need. I want to talk about stuff we could go ahead and break down later, whether it's true or false and all that stuff. I want to talk about that because if people find out about it, it could sway their voting. Folks that right now might say, what? I'm watching on the news, these folks down there struggling, suffering, dying, and you telling me that this administration spent money on you know what, I can't vote for it. That's what it's coming down to. That's why she's up here bringing that up, trying to protect Kamala Harris in the narrative. And because Trump's exposing it along with others, what do they use? Dis and misinformation.
To, you say, undocumented migrants, which FEMA says flatly is not true. And if people are...
we have to believe them. They said flatly it is not true. There you go. Isn't it odd how the left-wing media never wants you to question the government. Isn't that odd? Especially when the Democrats are in charge. Don't you be questioning any part of the government. Because they just come out and they say stuff and we go, they said it's not true. They don't no pushback, nothing. It sounds as if all you are is a voice for the government when Democrats are in control. We said it ain't true. And y'all go, true, true, true. We say it's disinformation. It's disinformation. They're just echoing what they say, not even questioning it.
Not getting correct information, that they can't go for assistance.
They can't go for assistance. Why? Like I said earlier, she's now spreading dis and misinformation. By trying to protect them, she has to lie for them. So now she's trying to make it seem like by Trump saying that the money, a lot of the money has been spent on illegal immigrations. That's going to stop people from going for help. She's trying to make us believe that by Trump saying that, man, they're only offering $750, that's going to discourage people from going to get it. If somebody gave me $1, I'd take it. Here's $1. There's some more coming later on. Oh, that's great. I'll take the $1 now and wait for the rest later. But if I can't even get the $1 and you talking about that, that's just a start. So therefore, somehow I can label that as dis and misinformation.
As they have been asked for. I just want to quickly
Dana,
play what Senator
Let
Tom
me
Tillis.
just say for 1 second.
Go ahead.
You have migrants being housed in luxury hotels in New York City. We have paid so much money from our tax dollars into the crisis that didn't need to happen. We could redirect money to help people immediately on the ground in North Carolina.
We could do that, but that's not the style of the Democrats because the precious illegal immigrants come first. See, we could do that, but we got other priorities like sending money over there to, Ukraine, that little midget, that boss, the plane. We got to send money over there. We could do all of that stuff, but we got other priorities, man. Therefore, while you're telling this and while you're describing and highlighting the fact lore that our current administration has prioritized these folks over Americans, I now got to step in and stop you. I didn't. You know what? I didn't get no memo of when the rally was taking place. Somebody just asked me, I go to the Butler rally. I didn't get the heads up. I knew he was coming back, but I thought it was in September. I'm madder than a mug, man. I missed it. But hey, a little bit of that rally is going to pop up before we get out of here. I'm going to let y'all know. This is going to be broken up into 2 parts. I got to dissect this real good, show you all the elements involved. Just trying to stick it to us. So now, let's get back to this. So Laura ain't having it, but here she got to stop Laura.
They're
in
saying
Florida,
that they
we're
have,
probably going to have a
but that's a
situation
separate.
coming up in
That's a separate.
days.
That's a separate tranche of
No,
money.
let's start off.
But that's a separate. Okay, so what? You mean to tell me it's still under FEMA? But for some reason, under FEMA, they decided, you know what? When the money comes in, we should create 2 PALs. 1 PAL is for the illegal immigrants. For whatever reason, we needed a separate pile of money for the illegal immigrants. We shouldn't need that because they shouldn't be here. Okay, but y'all had to create some type of division that would fund your little pet project. And because this pile is for American relief or whatever, now we can say that, wait, FEMA ain't giving the money away to immigrants. That money was allocated towards them in the first place. My first question, why was it? We wouldn't have to set aside money for the illegal immigrants if y'all weren't bringing them here. Secondly, if they still got money over there, which they do because they're still getting money, then why in the world can't we reallocate the money? Why can't we say, now we got a crisis. Sorry, illegal immigrants, but now we got to come in your piggy bank and take this money and put it back over here. But by having it separated, it gives the fake news a talking point that could combat the fact that the government is giving money to these illegal immigrants under FEMA. However, they're saying, well, it's just a separate part. That money was already set aside for the illegal immigrants. So that's my point. So take that mess back. But then she tries it again. Now notice this, guys. Remember, these are the people who can tell you who's spreading disinformation. They want censorship and stuff like that, right? So notice that Dana Trash just attacked Lord Trump and Donald Trump on these narratives that are true. and listen to what she does.
Off by talking about Hurricane Helene. We know that former President Trump has made.
The Hurricane Helene. We know that President Trump has stepped up, went down there immediately, got Elon Musk involved, got Starlink set up, got donations sent there. We know that, and he's a hero, and he's going down there and doing what Biden and the chameleon should have been doing instead of taking photo ops and walking with people outside and going nowhere and doing nothing and offering $750 and not being organized and all this stuff. That's what she should be saying. Yeah, can't even recognize what Trump has done. Won't even talk about that. Won't talk about his efforts, all of that, his leadership. What did she do? Same thing the other one did.
Quite frankly, a series of baseless claims, including that the Biden administration is intentionally.
Baseless. Do you see what this fool just did? Ooh, I want to jump on her like a spider monkey. Baseless claims. They didn't come from nowhere. Baseless claims like the Biden administration.
Withholding aid from areas where Republicans live, also saying.
I don't know. We don't know if that's baseless or not. Because at this point, a lot of the funds, these people can't get the money and don't seem like there's no real effort. I'm just saying. But let's continue hearing about some more of these baseless claims.
That FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants, both those.
Nope. Not redirected to migrants. See, that right there, it's dis and misinformation. We're saying that prior to this, they were spending money and directing it towards, not right now. See, she's trying to make it seem like Trump is saying right now, currently, they're sitting there going, all right, we got 200 million right now left in FEMA. Now, let's not spend that right now. Let's shoot that over to the migrants. We all know what we're talking about in the context. Okay, it is you guys spent that money. That's why you're broke. That's why you don't have enough over here because y'all broke it up. If we'd have kept the money together for what it was purposed for, we would have that money. But y'all had to dissect it, break it up, and say, let's create another division for the illegal immigrants, which that money could have been used over here. And now she's trying to say it's baseless claims. Well, where are these reports coming from? Trump didn't come up with this off the top of his head. These are also reports that's coming out of real networks. But yeah, she's trying to make it seem like Trump just made this up.
Claims have been debunked. They're false.
Oh, yeah, because who said so? Who debunked them? Why they false, huh? You don't want to know the truth, right? You don't even want to get to the truth. I mean, it's just all out there floating around. You got all this evidence about it. But her just saying, I take that for face value. It's debunked. It's who debunked it? Kamala Harris? Oh, okay. The White House debunked it? Cool. Okay. So here she is.
Here's what Deanne Criswell, the FEMA administrator, had to say about
no motive. No motive to
this
say.
level
That's
of misinformation creates this scenario where they won't even come to us. They won't even.
Lies. So now we got a DEI hire too. She's a woman. First woman over FEMA. And now she's up here talking about she's using Marxist conflict there. She's using dis and misinformation. She's using the other side, the other element to dis and misinformation. Fear. So you're putting people's lives in danger by spreading these lies on us.
Register, and I need people to register so they can get what they're eligible for through our programs.
And that's why they're not getting it. So now she said, I need them to register. And yet we got video footage all over the place of people trying to register and getting rejected. But yet it's Trump spreading disinformation. I guess these people are spreading disinformation while they're sitting in their cars. Everything around them is gone. And they're sitting there crying just because they want to play a prank, spread disinformation on FEMA. I went online, I applied, and I got rejected. What about you? Me too. Well, how about all you? None of us got our money. But yet, it's Trump getting out there saying these things. It's making them not go online and try. See? The folks is really spreading the dis and misinformation, but yet accusing others of it to silence and cover up for their mess, and then saying, to really drive it home, you're putting people's lives in danger.
Senator, what do you say to that criticism that Mr. Trump is confusing people at a very time when they need help the most?
Nobody's confused. What are you talking? How is this confusing people? This is what's killing me. I would eat this chick to shreds. I would start off and say, how is this confusing? Well, it's because people might think that they can't get the money. No, we didn't say they can't get the money. Y'all said $750. They've been trying to get the money, but it's being rejected, according to them, not me. Secondly, how is by telling them that money in the past has been sent or allocated towards illegal immigrants, how does that confuse them right now? Tell me the person who's sitting there and would hear that and say, well, therefore I might as well not even apply.
Well, I don't think he's confusing anyone. I think the administration did get caught flat-footed here, and that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have proven to be overmatched by events again. If you hear from Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, who's very close to this, is monitoring it on the ground, Georgia's response, he said that the administration's response has been lackluster.
So in other words, Trump and others are not confusing these people. They're informing these people. See, they're just letting them know, hey, first of all, I'm saying what Kamala said, $750. That's it. Okay. But secondly, I'm always also saying, look, they gave a lot of money away. And see, this right here is something they gotta squash, because this don't just inform the people that's in the situation. It informs the rest of the nation as they look upon this tragedy of what the Biden administration and Harris administration is really about. That's why they're more focused on debunking what Trump said, because they're protecting the image of Chameleon to help her get elected. They don't want folks going, they did what? Now, I ain't down there in North Carolina, but I know as an American, they shouldn't be giving this money away to no legal immigrant. That's what they're really trying to protect.
I think there's an obvious difference between what happened in western North Carolina, northern Georgia, eastern Tennessee than the normal kind of hurricane impact we see. Most of the time, hurricanes are hitting on the coast, hitting by definition flat land. They can cause devastating damage, but within some reasonable period of time, the waters recede, linemen can come in, trucks can come in, bring
And you think
supplies.
she care about
If you look at
this?
the geography of where Helene did the most damage, it's in the mountains where you have small, narrow valleys. Even once the storm moved on and there's no more rain, oftentimes these places only have one way in and out. So that's a very different challenge than what you see on the coast.
Okay, but what I want to talk about is what Mr. Trump has said. Everything he just said in her mind, she's like, hurry up so I can get back to what I want to say. I can care less about the details, the struggles, the elements. I don't get, that's not why I'm here. You think I'm trying to inform the people about the terrain and how this is a large catastrophe and what's going on with that? I'm not here for that mess. I'm here to say Trump is causing people, to be confused and might be even putting people's lives in danger. That's what I'm here for. So let's go ahead and see if she internalized everything Tom Cotton just said.
Areas. And I think the administration from the very beginning should have been deploying military assets necessary, specifically helicopters, to get in there. It took them days to do that. There's hundreds of military helicopters within flying distance to this area. That should have happened from the very beginning.
Bingo.
Senator, just a couple of points there. The governors themselves has said that they are satisfied with the federal response. Brian Kemp on Monday said, we got what we needed. The Democratic governor of North Carolina said the state is grateful for.
Hold on. Nala? There we go. No. You okay? What happened, girl? What happened? Had an emergency. I left the baby in there with Gizmo, and she starts screaming. Did Gizmo do something to you? Gizmo beat you up again? We can't have that. Yeah. You okay? I'm gonna set you down here. You can stay in here with me, but you better behave. There'll be no interrupting the show. Yeah. Heard a little thump. I'm like, what the heck was that? I guess she's okay. She's running around, looking healthy. All right, come here. Now you're gonna interrupt the show. She's on there. Just sit still. Now, where was I? All right, yeah. So here she is, going to bring up Brian Kemp and all of them. And now, no, she's not really there to give you the whole speech of what these people have said. She just probably is taking little statements like, we do appreciate what they're doing. However, she won't tell you the howevers, and we're about to see that.
For the support, we know that North Carolina got $27 million to Western North Carolina specifically. There's no doubt that there are challenges in this recovery effort, but I'm asking you about the misinformation that the former president is spreading. Here's what the Charlotte Observer editorial board wrote. They wrote, quote, former President Donald Trump has politicized the situation at every turn, spreading falsehoods and conspiracies that fracture the community instead of bringing it together.
How? By exposing how raggedy the Biden administration has conducted themselves and handled this and all of that stuff. So now he's politicizing it. The person who went down there made the sacrifice of his time, his efforts, and all of that stuff to actually help the people instead of just putting little bars of deodorant in a bag. You mean tell me that right there? Okay, because Kamala's really on the ground doing the grunt work. Do you ain't see the dirt under her nails? You ain't see that? You ain't see the shovel she had on her back? You ain't see any of that stuff? So now it's Trump that's politicizing it and spreading falsehoods and conspiracies that fractures the community. Really, it should say that exposes the administration.
Do you think Donald Trump should leave campaign politics out of disaster relief?
Well, no, Kristen, again, you have Governor Kemp who said that the response has been lacking. I understand the Democratic governor of North Carolina is going to praise Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the middle of an election season. But the simple fact is we're more than a week on. We're still not conducting recovery operations. They're still engaged in rescue operations.
And Christian Welker don't want to know why? She don't want to know why? She's not saying, what's taking so long? She's not going ahead and saying that we need to call over to the White House and ask them, hey, what's the holdup on these helicopters? It's been a week. She didn't do that. Instead, she wants to know more about why Trump is spreading dis and misinformation.
Because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were slow to answer the bell here. They were slow-footed and they were overmatched by events. You even had the Secretary of Homeland Security saying there's not enough money left in the fund.
He did say that. We heard
so
it.
It is the case that the administration itself, the secretary who oversees FEMA, has said there's not enough money left in the fund, and they have been spending billions of dollars for the last 4 years to move migrants from our border, to put them up in hotels and give them room service and maids. That's simply a fact.
Those funds are coming from a different...
Listen to that. Where's she getting that from? Isn't that odd how she somehow focuses on that piece of the information? Where'd she get that talking point from? Why isn't she able to say, well, you know what, that still don't make sense. That doesn't line up. Why was there two different funds and does FEMA have anything to do with that? Why is she simply defending the administration? I'm just wondering. So now she goes right back to the same thing we heard Dana Trash say. Because somebody from the White House said, this is what you say when they expose us, okay? Make sure you tell them this. And then when you get done saying that, just say, now Trump's spreading lies and disinformation. That's what she's doing. They both work for the same garbage deep state / nasty globalist / you know what is.
Federal fund, not from disaster relief, just to be clear. And what DHS Secretary Mayorkas said is that it has the money it needs for now, but not necessarily through the end of the year for future hurricanes. So there is a discussion about more funding. You're right about that. But look, Henry McMaster, the Republican governor of South Carolina, said federal assistance has been superb. Glenn Youngkin said he's incredibly appreciative of the rapid response. And again, Brian Kemp on...
Don't say anything about when they said that. At what point during the process did they say that? I mean, it could have been day one and they got a call or maybe some packages dropped off and they made a quick comment to thank a group of people or a particular situation. But she don't want to get into the overall, okay? She's making it seem like these governors are saying everything is going great. The Biden administration is doing everything. If that was the case, we wouldn't still have helicopters needed to be flown out there. We wouldn't have all of these people still saying, where are they coming? I don't know what's going on. I ain't get my money. But here she is just taking little, snippets of what they said.
Monday, at least in part, said we got what we need, while also saying, yes, there are some more things that we would like to see here in the state. My broader question to you, I think, is about this misinformation.
There it is. My broader point to you that the Democrats told me to come out and focus on is not how things are going in these people's calamity. No. It is dis and misinformation that we're going to label on Trump and anybody who echoes Trump or any of these talking points. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get this established right now. That's dis and misinformation because it could hurt Kamala and them. We ain't worried about it hurting the people down there. See, we're not worried about how sorry and piss poor they handled this. Hurts the people. Soon as you bring all that mess up, Tom Cotton, I'm like, miss me with that mess. You think I'm here to talk about these folks? I'm here to talk about Trump exposing this administration that could hurt Kamala. That's what I'm here to do.
Do you think this is a time to put falsehoods aside, like the idea that FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants, which is just not true?
Well, it is true that FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security have been spending billions of dollars on migrants. I understand some people say they're separate funds, but we just passed a short-term spending bill. It's very common for the administration to come and ask for permission to move money between funds, especially to prepare for emergencies. And second, I would note that this administration seems to have no problem finding money when they want to spend it on their priorities. When they need hundreds of billions of dollars to pay off student loans for graduate students and gender studies programs, they somehow find it. When it's trying to get helicopters to deliver food and water and cellular service and life-saving medicine into these mountain valleys, they somehow can't seem to find the money.
And again, $110 million have been sent to survivors so far. And again, those are different funds than...
I just want to stress that. So this is why the left needs censorship, y'all. Y'all see what it is? Look, this is exactly why. Watch this.
It's just categorically false. No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants. So
y'all hear that? Black gay drop with that mop on top of her head. Got the nurse says categorically false. No, Biden did not take FEMA money to use for migrants. It's categorically now. If we didn't have the internets, if we didn't have folks out there that could go back and find clips like this, let's see what Black Gay dropping that mop said back in 2022.
FEMA regional administrators have been meeting with city officials on site to coordinate available federal support from FEMA and other federal agencies.
From FEMA?
Funding is also available through FEMA's emergency food and shelter program to eligible local governments and non-for-profit organizations upon request to support humanitarian relief for migrants.
Look at that. For migrants. That's coming right out of the mop's top right there. Now, imagine if this was 1980, she can get away with that. Nobody would be able to go back on the internets and find that clip of her lying. You'd have to go to the library and pull up micro dish, something like that. But we were able to just go right back. And folks that put these things together and put it out there to expose them is a problem. They're a problem for them. So now to solve that problem, they need to do this.
The dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's
just like your face. You see that man's face stretching out? Boy, he looks like Lurch. Look like growing. Yeah, like your nose. Everything's sliding down. But here he is up there talking about the information going. In other words, it's a pain in our butt.
Part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard.
Building consensus, meaning we want everybody to believe what we want them to say. Believe rather. That's what he's talking about. This is an evil man. These folks that you're about to hear got real diabolical plans for us. That means if we don't win in November, this is what's coming right here, because they're expressing their disdain, their problem, their obstacle. They've lost control. They've lost contain, y'all. Broken arrow. They're saying broken arrow right now.
Hard to govern today.
Hard to govern. Why? It's hard to govern today because we can't control and manipulate their minds. These people are thinking for themselves and they're saying what they want to say and they're spreading ideas and thoughts and we're losing control. It's hard to govern. It's hard to keep the sheep in the fence.
There's the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact.
There you go. The referees we used to have, which simply are part of our own organization and power structure. There you go. The CNNs, the MSNBCs, the CBSs, all of them, ABCs, all of those places where, every once in a while they might go ahead and try to pretend that, they're holding people accountable in there. But for the most part, They're the ones that say, listen, if we say it's true, it's true. If we say it ain't, it ain't. And people will go, well, they said it on the news. Now, here's the problem. We still have half of the country still thinking that. They're still relying on fake news. They're still relying on these talking points and these control mechanisms that's been in place. But they see they're losing control of it. They see now they're being challenged. They see now that if we keep exposing this and having alternative ways of information, we're going to start cutting into their half. They're starting to see it through the fact that all of these folks are starting to gravitate towards Trump. They're starting to gravitate towards, patriotism. They're starting to say, I'm starting to recognize a lot of these lies and stuff. They're seeing it happen and they're going, this is a problem. We need to stop this mess right now. And he's up here talking about it. Just being honest about it. Here we go.
Kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree. People go and then people self-select.
Do you hear that? That's a problem. The left, man. These are the worst folks, and they'll tell you Trump is a dictator. This man say these people go and, they self-select. We can't have that. We need to give them a selection. Here's the ones you can choose from. These three right here. These three right here. And they didn't realize and catch this in time when Trump came on the scene. Yeah, social media and all of them had to backpedal. They had to play catch up. They're sitting there like, we didn't expect folks to be destroying Hillary and man. Okay, all right. We try to go ahead and pretend that but we're gonna start reeling them in. We're gonna start finding out who's the people with these independent networks, these independent shows, and all that. We're gonna start going after them. We're gonna start going. And by the way, start circulating these terms, dis and misinformation out there, so that when we go after them, all we gotta say is they're spreading dis and misinformation. It could be putting people's lives in danger. Don't forget that.
Where they go for their news or for their information.
And the arrogance of this man, the arrogance of the left. Do you hear what this dude? I wonder if he hears himself. I wonder how he thinks we're interpreting what he's saying. Is he thinking we're going, that is a problem. We need more restrictions. We don't need to be able to go ahead and decide what's true or not. There should only be the refs, even if the refs are bought off and paid. We don't need that. We want to go ahead and leave it up to the news to tell us what's true or not. Then if it's not coming from the sources that you say are legit, then I don't want to hear them. That's what this guy's saying. These folks are the real danger to democracy. That's why we got this dis and misinformation circulating everywhere and stuff like that.
And then you just get into a vicious cycle. So it's really, really hard, much harder to build
to control them.
Consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. And there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to get...
Here it is. Y'all hear it? Y'all hear it? You don't think this is coming down the pipeline? The fact that they're discussing how we can curve these entities. Yeah, the fact that he's up here exposing the real problem. These folks are choosing for themselves. Folks are no longer relying on just what we tell them, and they're not relying or trusting the sources that we've co-opted, like the fake news. And the internet is a problem. And these people are out here talking about stuff that we don't want them talking about, which also leads to ideas and changes minds. That's what that does. So we got to go ahead and figure out a way to censor the heck out of these people. That's what we got to do. And then try to say it's for your own good, man.
Guarantee that you're going to have, some accountability on facts, etc. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick and, has an agenda and they're putting out disinformation.
And this guy's describing MSNBC. He's describing CNN. If they only go to one source, he don't want that source to be a source of truth, though. He want that source to be a source of dis and misinformation. Yeah, we want you to use the sources that are the mockingbird media, like Dana Trash. See, she's legit. Yeah, she's paid. She's paid for. We done bought her. Like Christian Welker, who was just out here saying that's not true. Trump spreading dis and misinformation and putting people's lives in danger. Those are the sources we want them to go to. Don't be going to no alternative sources like Kevin from Kevin's Corner. I mean, doing that, man. Glenn Beck, any of that mess. We can't have y'all doing that. Those folks are spreading dis and misinformation and hate speech So we got to censor them.
Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence.
Y'all hear that? That First Amendment stands as a major block for us to hammer it out of existence. In other words, hammer you pesky independent thinkers out of business. Hammer you folks out there that make your own choices and don't buy into all the lies we're saying. Yeah, we got to hammer that out of business one way or another. But that pesky First Amendment is standing in the way. Now, if you think that these people will not come after the First Amendment, they're telling you. That right there is a confession that this guy got a problem. Yeah, it's standing in the way. That means we need to find a way around it or get rid of it. That's what he's saying. So not only do we want to get rid of it or find a workaround, okay, but it's standing in the way. But hey, some more people making confessions too to let us know what's coming down that pipeline if we lose. Here we go.
So what we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change.
Oh, you hear that? Win the right amount of votes. In other words, if we stop Trump, if we win another election, we are going to turn our attention towards Elon Musk. He's a problem. He's in our way with that Twitter, that X. We're going to turn our attention towards making sure all of the social media platforms mysteriously tweak their algorithms to go ahead and target especially conservative commentators and label whatever they say as dis and misinformation, because we determine what that is, and hate speech. And your rhetoric is dangerous and can be putting people's lives in danger. Give us the power to do what this guy's about to say.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Actually, there is, Homer Simpson head. But according to his philosophy, no, there isn't. There's no guarantee on this. So people can't lie. That's what he's saying. Yeah, I thought it was our God-given right, even if God doesn't approve of it, we're free to lie or tell the truth, but not according to him. But notice, he didn't say who decides what is dis or misinformation or hate speech. They would never do that. They would never give you a guideline. They would never give you the equal power to be able to decide that what you just said was hate speech or dis or misinformation, because tomorrow's show I'm going to be revealing some real hate speech. But for tonight, I want to focus on the dis and misinformation part in the censorship agenda. So this guy is talking about, yeah, there's no right to do all of this stuff, says the guy who would be the one determining what is truth or what isn't. See, he's not going to say, let's share that. There we go. You go now. Your short turn to decide what if I say it was true or not, then I'll do it tomorrow. Nope. It'll be, we're always right and you're always wrong. And you're evil. And you're spreading hate speech. And you're putting people's lives in danger. Says us. Interesting, isn't it? And look at this. Look at this one. This nerd.
Free speech, but if you're inciting violence, if you're causing people not to take vaccines.
Yeah, inciting violence by just saying little boys shouldn't be in sports with little girls or in the bathrooms and all that stuff and don't need to. Yeah, that right there can put people's lives in danger. It's inciting violence against them. Throw that on them. You know, anything that we want to protect or agenda we want to push, go ahead and say, well, if you disagree, you're spreading violence. Notice they say speech is violence now. They say disagreeing with folks is violence, not validating people is violence. Anything we want to say is violence against whatever agenda we have, then that's what it is, says Bill Gates.
Where are those boundaries that even the U.S. should have rules? And then if you have rules, what is it?
Who's making the rules? Why we the people aren't allowed to make the rules? We ain't never had this problem before until y'all start losing contain. So until y'all start losing control of the narrative, then all of a sudden now we got a problem. Where did these problems come from? Well, yeah, we now see where these problems are coming from. The problem is coming from the fact that they can't get out there control us and lie to us like they used to. So now they got to go ahead and come up with ways to suppress us. That's what it is. We got to do it by force now instead of manipulation. We used to be able to manipulate y'all, but now we got to take it by force. So now we got to come up with an idea to work around this stuff because these people are out there spreading this and misinformation.
Is there some AI that encodes those rules because you have billions of activity and, you know, if you catch it a day later, the harm is done.
But I also...
Oh, you hear that? Yeah, you catch it a day later, the harm is already done. Like all the lies that they spread from the legacy media and the Democrats that goes all around the whole country in a day or two. Then when it comes out that it's a lie, the bubbleheads never hear that. They never be like, oh, wow. Well, do you mean tell me when they was out there saying Trump killed fish in Japan, that was a lie? See, they never get worked. That never comes back around somehow. It never comes back around and show that the fake news are really the ones spreading all the lies and dis and misinformation. They spread it, then they walk away from it and they retract it a day or 2 or 3 days later. Oh, by the way, we made a little bit of mistake. All right, now let's get back to some more lies. And look at this one. Listen.
I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civil.
Now, y'all ready for this? This is the irony about Crooked. Crooked is also evil. I call her the evil one, okay? She's right underneath Satan, okay? You got Satan, then you got her. So Crooked is so bold that not only is she showing us the agenda of coming after our First Amendment and controlling us through that and possibly even punishing us legally, but she's doing what she's saying people are doing that needs to be controlled right now. She's spreading dis and misinformation and using it to justify punishing people who spread dis and misinformation.
Or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence. There should be a lot of things done. We should be, in my view, repealing something called Section 230, which gave platforms on the internet immunity because they were thought to be just pass-throughs, that they shouldn't be judged for the content.
Now, why is this guy looking like he's looking into the evil one's face? Like she got a spell on him. That dude's like, I mean, he blinked like maybe 2-3 times. Looked like he's scared. The Crooked one got him under a spell. But here she is saying that, you know what, these platforms, now what she's really talking about is the ones we can't control. See, we were the ones talking about that when Twitter wasn't owned by Elon. We were saying, wait a minute, why are these platforms getting all these exemptions when they're censoring us? When they're obviously suppressing us. But then, all of a sudden, because when we were saying that, we were conspiracy theorists. We were just whining. We were whining. And we should shut our mouths about these platforms because these right there were just independent people owning these platforms. They got a right to do whatever they want. Until Elon bought X. And when he did that, now all of a sudden, now we got to get rid of it.
That is posted. But we now know that that was an overly simple view, that if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the...
Look what she just said. Who would vote for these evil devils, rather? Yeah, that right there, you hear the Crooked one? The Crooked one just straight came out and said, we lose total control. What makes you think you should have control? The arrogance of these people. They think they own us. They think they control us. I mean, this right here is unbelievable. But notice the consensus. Why are they all starting to talk about what they need to do about hate speech or mis and disinformation and how we need to go ahead and do something about it? That's letting us know that's what we're going for. We're laying the groundwork. We're saying this is a problem in our country and in society, and we need to do something about it. And to do it, we need more power. If you put us in power again, this is one of our top priorities because we never want to repeat this again. We don't want to have another uprising of information. We don't want to be challenged again. So now we're going to go ahead and have to stump this in the ground.
Social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
what is something you see happening in the near future that we should be taking more seriously?
Well, I do think that the press needs a consistent, the press is not supporting Trump blatantly, very persistently.
Okay.
The press that's trying to be the press, be objective, be, reporting the
So when you say
facts.
crooked-
The press needs a consistent narrative about the danger that Trump.
In other words, the press needs to do what we tell them to do. We can't have any press outside of the ones we control up there talking about things. They all need to conform to our talking points, our narratives, whatever we have them do to crush our opponents. Because only Democrats are righteous. Only Democrats never have scandals in their administration. Only Democrats always have a legitimate excuse of spending money on illegal immigrants. And of course, running out of money over here. And if you acknowledge that, what you're doing is you're spreading dis and misinformation and putting people's lives in danger. Now you see why it's so important to them to go ahead and censor us, to go ahead and highlight this new narrative that just popped up in the last couple years, and they're going to run with it. This is the groundwork for censorship. Using terms like mis and disinformation and hate speech, those are the tracks that lead straight to censorship. And they're saying it all over the place. And if people don't catch these, they're not even subtle. We know when we hear this, we know exactly what y'all up to. But some people might think, oh, well, you know what? That's never going to get that far out there. It's never going to become. You give these people 1 inch of power. If they are able to get their knuckles into the First Amendment to make any changes, you think they're going to stop there? You're naive. Same thing with guns. We just want to get our hands on that AR-15. Censorship and taking away weapons are the two necessities for control. What party really always talk about that? Now, tomorrow, I'll be back to expose some more because, unfortunately, you know who's about to be the #1 recipient of censorship. The #1 threat to them right now is... So that's what we're going to start with tomorrow because he's in the hot seat right about now. All right. So God bless y'all. God bless America. We will see y'all tomorrow for part 2 of exposing their diabolical scheme to censor us. All right. Spread the word. Be back tomorrow. Be here. Be square. 7 o'clock. Okay. And I'm going to go check on the babies. I'm going to save my theme song for later. Come here, Nala. Yeah. Gizmo hurt you. Yeah, with your little... Yeah, that's right. You can't hurt the baby. She just like playing. That's all. She like, I just was playing. He get too serious. Man, and Gizmo be like, you play too much, punk. I'm a grown man. I don't play like I used to. My feet hurt. Just got over the fleas. Here you are playing. He wasn't on it. So I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Take care.